welcome back to the Fantasy Backpack. This is the week, ladies and gentlemen. This is the week we've been practicing for. This might be the week that you haven't gotten into your fantasy playoff yet. This might be the week you have to win. You just have to pull this out to win. So I'm bringing back waivers this week on YouTube just because I think, myself included, I'm making decisions right now that I'm like, I'm going to have to make this over certain players that are normal starters for me that I would normally just leave alone during the year. But I can't do that this week, like I've been telling you. Chalk loses you championships. If you're chalking it up this weekend and you just going to try to hope your guy performs and you're just going to try to make it to your playoffs like that, congratulations, you're not in the playoffs and it's not going to change for you. So I'm bringing back waivers this week just so we can get my top-ranked players that I think you need to either start or consider starting over some of the better names on your roster because of their matchups and just because of how they've been going lately. So let's get right into it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you drop a comment. You can ask any question you want. I try to respond as quickly as I can. A lot of times the notifications don't show up, so it takes me a little longer, but I usually answer most questions. You can also find me on Twitter at Fantasy Backpack. Like I said, make sure you check out the Stitcher podcast. It's usually a longer show, but this one we're just going to go. So, quarterbacks. Now, normally don't do quarterbacks, but this is what I'm telling you, people. Start, or for waivers, pick up Lamar Jackson, Marcus Mariota. You want to get any quarterback that runs the ball. Most of my leagues are 4 points for passing touchdowns and 6 for rushing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns. So, I want any quarterback that uses his legs and has the possibility of rushing it in. Same goes for Dak Prescott. You want to get any quarterback that has the ability to run the ball in, and it's likely that he will because it's part of his repertoire and part of the offense that they call. Lamar Jackson didn't go crazy last week, but every week he's been on the rise. And he plays the Falcons this week, so I'm guessing he's going to have to throw more because they're going to be behind, and he actually throws a decent ball. When him having to throw more, he's going to also have to run more because they're going to have to need to continue drives. They're not going to be able to plot to go 4 yards here, 4 yards here. They're going to have to hit chunks against Atlanta because Atlanta is putting up at least 24 points against them. So I expect Lamar Jackson to have his best week this week. And Marcus Mariota, you saw what he is when he's not injured. When he's hasn't performed in the last 4 or 5 weeks because he's been injured or he's had to come out the games. You've seen it all. So I would get any player that has the ability to run. Even Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 99 yards on the ground last week. You want any player like that has the potential, that has it in their repertoire. That's what they're going to do. The best fantasy quarterbacks are those quarterbacks. Cam Newton every year is one of the top 5 best quarterbacks. As I say, top 7, just simply because he runs and he has the ability to pull the ball down in RPO. Anybody that runs RPOs and they can actually run, pick them. Go get them. Lamar Jackson, I've been starting for the last 3 weeks because at some point he's going to average out 2 throwing or 1 running or 2 running and 1 throwing. He's going to. It's just going to happen. That's just the way he's built. And his deep balls are really good. Now, in terms of running backs, I only want really 3 running backs. I know people are going to tell you about Nyheim Hines, LeGarrette Blount. You name them. They're going to tell you about those matchups suck. Those matchups I don't want any part of because there's a huge bust potential. Nyheim Hines might catch a bunch of passes, but I really want someone that has the potential to score a touchdown. So I can't trust that, and I think that I think that Mac will play. I actually think he will play. It seems that he's trending that way. We don't know for sure yet. Today being Tuesday, we don't know for sure yet. Come Thursday, you'll really get a better handling on it. But I think he's going to play. The people that I want is the likes of Doug Martin. He's like 66 to 70% owned in most leagues. But I want Doug Martin just because you've seen Doug Martin a resurgence. He's been great. The Raiders are using him sparingly simply because they're always down. But if I'm trying to just get a touchdown and get decent production, Doug Martin has shown that he can be that. He can do that. The number 1 priority really, though, is Austin Eckler. If Eckler is available in your league, go get him. He was available in 2 leagues of mine before the start of Sunday. I picked him up in one, and he's still available in one 10-team league. So I'm thinking that's 10-team leagues are the only place you're going to find him available. But if he is, grab him because, well, he's the starting running back now on a team that's always productive when it comes to running back. And the Chargers are going to lean heavily on him. They're also going to use Justin Jackson, but I don't think Justin Jackson is ready yet to take over. Maybe in a couple weeks. Plus, against the Steelers, you don't really want a between attacker runner all the time. You want someone that's going to catch the ball out the backfield and get you production through the year to the air. You also want Rex Burkhead. He was activated this week by the Steelers. I know it's a crowded backfield, but whenever he played, he was great, and they're gonna use him very well. That leads me to think the Sony Michel and the James White people, you might want to look at that because that's going to affect you in a big way. LeGarrette Blount might be the starter again this week for Detroit, but they're playing the Rams, and they're going to be behind for one thing, and he is not running up the middle on the Rams' D tackles. So he is completely out of the question for me. So if I'm going Doug Martin, Rex Burkhead, Austin Eckler, of course, if he's there first. Nyheim Hines, I might consider in PPR only. But that's about all I'm going for. I mean, Josh Adams, I've been telling you about for a while now. So he's owned mostly in a lot of leagues. But it would go Eckler, Adams, Martin, Rex Burkhead, Nyheim Hines. Those are the guys. That would be my choice. The first 2 would be the only 2 I'm definitely starting somewhere this week. And the other ones, if I'm really, really, really desperate. Also, Carlos Hyde. He might be a good starter, but they're going to use a 2-headed monster in that backfield. And they're going to struggle. I don't want to depend on that. It might be great, and then it might be really bad. So it's just not something I have to win, and it doesn't give me. I can't feel it either way, so I'm just gonna stay away from it. I'd rather not because it just gives me a bad feeling. Now, wide receivers. Wide receivers is the one where you can make your money. Wide receiver is the one where you can actually get players that are going to be productive this week, that are going to be able to win you the game you needed to get into the playoff. Now, my number one ad. Actually, it's a 1A, 1B kind of situation. 1A is Josh Reynolds for LA, but I'm thinking he's mostly not available for most people. But my 1B is Adam Humphries. And Humphries has been a guy I have stated many times. Don't buy into the hype because he was with Fitzpatrick and he was just going along. And eventually, if Fitzpatrick was still there, I think he would have lost that luster that he still has now going forward. Humphries, though, is loved by Winston. I said that when I said if it were Winston, I would get excited. It's Winston, and I'm getting excited. Humphries in the last 4 games, I mean, against Carolina, week 9, he was number 2 ranked wide receiver. And the last 2 weeks against the Giants in San Francisco, he's been the number 23 ranked wide receiver. You can't use that. I'm thinking he continues the same production that he's had. He gets 6 to 7 catches and turns them into big runs in the slot. He's my number 1 guy. If I add him, I'm playing him. Now the next 2 guys, David Moore and John Ross. Now Ross, I told you guys to add a while back, and all he's done is catch a touchdown every game. Now they don't have Dalton back there making bad decisions and deciding not to throw the ball. They have Driscoll, who looks like he's a feisty little guy that can, that makes throws, that makes quick decisions, gets the ball out of his hands, or runs the ball. So I like Ross's prospect now better because I thought he could burn people, which he has, but Dalton just hasn't gotten in the ball. Dalton only looks his way when they get to the red zone, which has been beneficial for him because every time he throws him the ball in the end zone, he catches for a touchdown, and that's been his only production. So John Ross and David Moore is the number 2 receiver in Seattle. Doug Baldwin is now the number 3 option. David Moore has been productive for the last 3 weeks. He is now the number 2 wide receiver in Seattle, and he makes great catches. He runs great routes, and Russell Wilson trusts him. So those two are the guys that I'm pretty sure, if given a choice in my third receiver or my flex spot, I am starting those guys, and I'm confident about it that they're going to do well this week. In terms of tight end, if I'm going through tight end and I need a tight end to start, the first guy I'm going to is Chris Herndon in the Jets. The guy's been productive all the times. I mean, he used to only get like 3-4 targets, 2-3 catches at best, and catch a touchdown or something like that. Now he's a bigger part of the offense, and he's actually catching passes. He's actually catching multiple passes. Now, this week he plays... Who's he play? Tennessee. He plays Tennessee this week. It's a tough matchup, but he had 8 targets last week. Why would I think that would change this week? Especially the way the Jets' offense is designed to go underneath with slot-type guys, and that's where he is. Now, the tight end I would want for the most potential is Gerald Everett, and he's on the Rams. He is obvious. I mean, Higbee got a touchdown last time, but he is the obvious guy in terms of targets, in terms of usage, in terms of trust from Goff. Gerald Everett would be my number 1 tight end to go get if I'm trying to get a high upside. Herndon is the guy if I just need a tight end that I think is going to catch 3-4 passes, and I just want those points to be safe. Now, those are my wide receiver, though. Those are all my waiver ads, guys. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like, follow, ask any questions in the word. Good luck. This is the week. Make sure you ask the questions. I mean, I don't give much information in these because you can't make these too long. But I want you guys to win the fantasy backpack. Get in. Let's win some championships.